How have you seen Steph handle that tightrope along those same lines? A year in his prime, trying to get traction in the win column, but what's Steph's understanding of the developmental side as well?
Yeah, Steph has seen. It's interesting. I mean, I think we all look at his recent history, but he has been through. Wasn't like he just walked in the NBA and everything was perfect for him individually, certainly team wise. So he's got a great grasp of an appreciation for what we were, what we are, what he went through with his own injuries and own path to success, and the own questioning of his ability, albeit at a different level. I mean, even at superstar status, there's pressure on a guy like that. There's pressure on him being a leader of a team when it's great, when it's in the middle, and when it's not so great. So, it's not something I put in him and take credit for. It's something that he has, and you just watch him walk around again. He was on the sidelines the other day when we were in Memphis, and he was kind of jumping up and down, and the TV went over to him, and he was getting excited for Jordan. And I saw him, and I said, gosh, I said, how come you can have so much fun? How do you bring that joy every day? And I always tell him that's such a unique skill to find such pleasure in your work. And he hasn't lost that, even amidst COVID or last year or this year. He has a great way of seeing the small picture and the big picture.
How difficult are you guys finding an organizationally in this kind of in-between period, maybe trying to fuse two eras, you could say? Obviously, you have the superstar age 33 and James at 19. And how tough a balance is that?
Yeah, well, it's tough, but it's for those of you that covered us long. I mean, we had a little when Mark was here earlier. It was a young Klay. It was a young watching him make mistakes, and he's a wonderful player. And we joked the other day, some of us that were here, about his progress to becoming what he became. And it's hard, but it's the NBA, and I don't think anybody's going to have any empathy for myself or the Warriors as far as the talent and personnel we've had and the success we've had. So it's a challenge, but it's no different than the challenge many teams face. And we have to meet that head on. And I honestly think the biggest challenge is, and I don't know how to say this without, I guess it would sound like an excuse. It's not an excuse. The biggest challenge would be Klay's absence. Doesn't matter. And I'm not going to harp on that because it doesn't matter. But we're moving through all of it. Doesn't mean it's easy, but that's what we're doing.
Hey, Bob, as a GM, I mean, obviously you have a different point of view on this, but, you have a coach, and coaches, for job security reasons, they want to win games. And yet, at the same time, you're trying to develop for the future. And I'm wondering, do you sort of have do you feel for what a coach like Steve is going through in terms of trying to balance that, trying to win games for good reason and get to the playoffs versus also trying to develop guys and having to play through their mistakes and deal with that?
Yeah, I sent him that text today, Monty. I know that. I did. I said, this is tough, man. This is hard. But at the same breath, we both kind of chuckled that we've seen the other side of the coin too, with a roster that didn't need much. Obviously every roster needs refining, but one that stood alone pretty well. So we can't complain. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and not have empathy for the balance he's trying to strike. It's not easy. It's a tough one. Everybody, I want to win too. I mean, it's not like we want to just see guys develop and not win. So yeah, it's a really good insight on your part and accurate. That I appreciate it. Sometimes there's not an easy answer for those questions, but we're not the first organization to try to figure this out. Not to diminish how difficult it is, which it is, but you look around some organizations where they're not throwing in the towel because they got too much talent, but recognizing the future requires growth from young players. And to say that's easy isn't fair, isn't accurate. It's a challenge. But again, so is not having any players or having some great players and trying to figure that out too.
Bob, I know the plan is always to get better. But heading into the trade deadline, was there any specific vision you guys had? Like, hey, we want to get better this year and try to make a push, or hey, we want to make a move so we can position ourselves this summer to make a splash? Was there like a specific vision that you guys had going into the deadline?
Yeah, I mean, it's every deadline you have some kind of goal or vision. And I would say the easy answer would be it's both short and long-term success. That's a hard balance to strike. And that's what we're trying to strike this year. In previous deadlines, it was let's push it all in and try to win a championship, which in many instances meant nothing. We felt like we had enough to do it. This is a little bit different with Klay out. We're trying to figure out what we have and evaluate what we are, not do anything that would hinder us in the future, but look to the future as well. So it's a lot of different things that we run in parallel. And at the end of the deadline, you basically are confronted with all these proposals and you do what you think is best in the moment. And I don't want to get into what could have happened or should have happened, but you do explore a lot of different things. That's my job. That's the job of every general manager. But at the deadline for us, we wanted to keep this crew together, see what they could do, but at the same time, look towards the future and see if we could better ourselves there as well. That's, I think, every team's goal. But I do think realistically, everybody's on a little bit of a different timeline.